patreon.com/0and09. If you dig the show, you dig what I do here, be it the Unwashed Asses, Zero Lives, all the other stuff I put on the website, and pitch in a buck, a schmeckel, a dollar, a rupee, what have you, euro, Deutschmark. It all works just fine over at patreon.com/0and09. Keeps the show going, keeps me motivated, and I think it's going to turn out better products. We'll find out, but head on over to patreon.com/0and09. Oh boy. I gotta figure out a better slider situation for the musics because it's not working well. There's the jumping in the volume cutting out, and that's not good for anybody. So, welcome to the Unwashed Asses, episode 16, yeah, recorded Thursday, May 25th, 2017. Oh boy, I had a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm severely distracted. I should turn it off, but on the other screen here I have Injustice 2 going, and oh god, it's so good. It's so good. I'm having so much fun with it. I really was tempted to not do a show this morning and just play Injustice all day, but I'm gonna be responsible. We're gonna go ahead and actually, do the show. We'll get it out. We'll get it up on the podcatchers, I heard was a term that was used back in the day, and all the other sources, so you can watch, listen to your heart's content. And then now that I know my work's done, I can go play Injustice 2. So holy shit, Injustice 2. I know last week I was talking like, oh yeah, I had a nice little not bonus, but I'd worked overtime, so I had a little extra bread on the old paycheck there. So I was just trying to decide what do I spend this on, because I had been wanting to get a PlayStation 4 for a very long time for games like Bloodborne and Nier Automata, but I decided, you know what, that's a little too much money even at the ridiculously low price of like $215. I couldn't do it, couldn't pull the trigger. So instead, I spent the money on more practical things and things I had been putting off. So I have a nice little savings. That's growing. It's good. But I decided, you know what? I worked hard. I deserve a little treat, and I got myself Injustice 2. Now, I had been reading the Injustice comic series for a very long time. I was caught up all the way through like year 4, and then never actually got around to playing the first game. So when it came out, I was leery because while I was a big fan of the Mortal Kombat series as a kid, NetherRealm they hadn't been capturing my attention in a very long time. And I'm going to blame a lot of that on like Namco for releasing, the Soul Calibur series. That one definitely soaked up all my attention as far as fighting games were concerned. And I had played the Mortal Kombat versus DC universe and didn't really care for the like, it was alright, but it didn't wow me. And so I assumed that MK versus DC was going to be the same thing. So I didn't get it, and I don't know if it was a mistake or not. It reviewed well enough. There were some issues that that would have aggravated me a bit, but beyond that, the comic series was just utterly astounding. It's one of my favorite runs, and the basic premise is that the Joker tricks Superman into killing a pregnant Lois Lane, which then also detonates a nuclear warhead that wipes out Metropolis. So Superman loses his shit, understandably so, and then kills the Joker. At that point, he then decides that he's tolerated villains too long and been far too kind on them, and the only solution is the final solution, and begins killing not only supervillains but like despots and basic criminals and anybody who gets in his way of this peace, love, and liberty type of deal. So thus begins a war between Batman and Superman. Batman still adheres to the no killing, and it creates a rift, much like Marvel's Civil War event. This is different heroes and villains siding on one side or the other, and Superman eventually builds like this totalitarian regime that takes over the world, mostly through encouragement by Wonder Woman, who's just an absolute bitch. I never have really cared for Superman or Wonder Woman, mostly because it was, especially with Superman, it was a thing of he's too powerful. There's nothing that can stop him. He's always written in such a way that he will always be stronger than his opponent, and so the true crux of his story becomes his morality and choosing to do good, and it was just kind of boring. It was too squeaky clean, and this was growing up in an era where we still were kind of in that silver age of comics where everything was bright colors. It wasn't all doom and gloom. So I was drawn more to other characters like Batman, and as I've grown up, that opinion really hasn't changed. I don't care for Superman as a character, and Wonder Woman. I actually had this epiphany yesterday. Honestly, the biggest reasons I don't like her is that she is a sexist. Coming from an island populated entirely by women, she has a very dour opinion of men and their capabilities and what they can do, and she's very much a warrior. It's a warrior culture, and so it's nothing but fight, fight, fight. Men are terrible, and it's kind of seeing that other side of the coin where women for a very long time have had to put up with sexism and we're not as good as men, we can't do the same things, and had that shoved down their throats the whole life. So it was interesting to, I don't know, kind of pick up that's why I don't care for the Wonder Womans. And so within the Injustice storyline, she is egging on Superman and pushing him towards this war state, as far as this is the right path to do. Don't listen to Bruce. And even when characters like Aquaman try to smooth things over with Superman and get back, not in his good graces, but to express sympathy for Superman's loss, she doesn't relay those messages, and she only serves as a further catalyst for this ongoing war. And so you see her churning up all this turmoil, and she is effectively, I mean, if it weren't for her egging him on, Superman probably would have backed down earlier. And it's aggravating to see. So if you can get it, I know with Twitch Prime last month in promotion of the game, of Injustice 2, they gave you the first volume of the Injustice comic for free. And again, it's some of the best storytelling in a comic because it draws so many characters into it. From Batman and Superman all the way to like Zatanna, Constantine, and it really has some serious consequences in the sense that, like, spoilers, Superman kills Black Canary and Green Arrow and Shazam, and we see characters like Harley Quinn come over to the good guy's side and effectively replace Robin after Damian Wayne kills Dick Grayson. So if any of those names ring a bell and you can kind of understand the context, these are huge traumatic events, and because of those, and that they have real gravity and characters aren't coming back to life, it's I mean, aside from like Court of Owls, it might be my favorite DC series. So when Injustice 2 was coming around, I'm like, you know what? I've been itching for a fighting game for a very, very, very long time. And like, yeah, I should get it. Don't want to get it. I don't know. And last week decided, you know what? Let's bite the bullet. Let's get it. And I could not be happier. It's so good. The story itself breaks down effectively, and I apologize for the viewers, the folks watching the live stream and or video archive after the fact. I have the game running in kind of like an automatic mode, trying to level up some characters while I do this. So I keep checking on it and have to hit, a button to get the game to progress. So I'm a little distracted. Um, so the story is kind of straightforward. Superman was defeated at the end of the last game, and Batman has him locked up under a red sun generator. So it's essentially keeping him depowered. Um, we also have Wonder Woman, who's teamed up with Black Adam, and they found Supergirl, who in this universe has just now come to Earth and doesn't really know what's going on with Superman. Essentially, she's being brainwashed. But what happens is Brainiac finds the world, and he was the one responsible for the destruction of Krypton and the death of all those people, and he's going around collecting worlds and knowledge. So he finally comes to Earth, mostly to hunt down Superman and complete his collection. So what happens then is all the heroes kind of having to put aside their differences to fight the big bad, which happens in a lot of stories. I mean, it was the entire premise of Watchmen in the sense that to get the entire world to stop the world from destroying itself, it's got Ozymandias created a threat that unified the world, and so that's kind of what Brainiac does here. Except in the end, Superman's still a dick, and the fighting still continues, and it sets up, a continuing storyline for this universe because it's not the primary DC universe. Not that, excuse me, not that I even know what that would be, because with the DC Rebirth event, where we have what is theorized as Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen having created the DC universe, it's weird. It's weird. So either way, I'm super jazzed with Injustice though, because it has simplified the fighting game in the sense that you don't have a low and a high punch, low and a high kick, special buttons and all that. It's essentially weak, kind of strong, and then strong attacks, and then you have a super meter which gets pumped up, and you don't have to remember 20 button long combos to pull off your ultimate. It's all very straightforward and very fast paced. And there is just a plethora of characters to choose from. So unfortunately, since some of the characters died in the last game and in the comic, they're not around in this one, like Shazam. Essentially, you're playing as Black Adam if you want to get some Shazam action, and Nightwing, he's gone. So you have Damian Wayne, but there's still a really good run of characters, from like the Red Lanterns to Firestorm. There's a lot of characters. Oh, sorry, the character screen just went away, but. What's nice, though, is the way the game is broken down is outside of the story mode, you have individual character levels in addition to your player level. So as you level up the characters, you also get gear for them, which improves their stats and abilities. And much like Warcraft or Diablo, there's different ratings to the gear as far as like rare, legendary, epic, and they all have better stats than some. And so it's a game of one, leveling up your character and then decking them out with the best gear, and then two, there's a dress up function to it where the gear will have different cosmetic appearances, and you can transmog it and make say one piece of gear has better stats than the other gear that actually looks better, then you go ahead and transmog the better looking gear onto the one with the better stats. And so I've said this plenty of times, I'm very vain. I like playing pretty characters. I like pretty people and pretty things. So so the dress up is definitely a huge draw to me, considering like a lot of the characters in this universe have a very armored look to their costumes. There's a lot of like parts and plastics. If you're, well, I mean, everybody should be familiar with Batman from the Dark Knight series, Christopher Nolan's movies. It's a similar thing where it's more armor plating versus the spandex. And I was a fan of the new 52 costumes where it was a hybrid between the two, where it was kind of spandexy looking but also was more realistic and a little bit armored. So this one just goes too far in the one direction, and like that's probably the biggest issue I have with it is the character design itself. The costumes just, they don't look good for the most part. So being able to tweak them and dress them up as I see fit is going to be a huge perk. But the problem is I have to level up all of these characters, because you'll get gear for like a level 18 and your character's only a level 3. You can't equip it. So there's draw definitely to level up all of the characters and make them look as good as they can, if not for the sake of, you know, better fighting ability than to just look pretty. So to do all that, they have a multiverse within the game, where you can sign up either through a guild or on your own, and it's a single player element that there are different worlds. Think of it like a random dungeon in Diablo, where different worlds are generated. They have different rules and you have different objectives. So you have to do like 3 environmental attacks, or land 8 low attacks, or like Bane will come in a fight with you, or there's some environmental hazard that's different than it usually is on that level. And by fighting and completing these objectives, you unlock the mother boxes and the currency, which allows you to buy more of these boxes, which give you gear effectively. And so it's a vicious cycle of, I got to keep fighting, got to keep doing this stuff to get better gear. I got to get the better gear so I can keep fighting and do the stuff. So I actually haven't played a whole lot of the online component as far as like casual or ranked matches against other people. When I did, I got my ass handed to me. There's no two ways about that. It was just a beatdown of epic proportions. But the fact that they have this multiverse system in place means I don't have to do the online component until I want to. I'm not forced into it, because I mean, that's how it used to be in fighting games, where you'd have the story mode, and then you would have the online. That's it. And so being able to experience and enjoy more of the game outside of just getting my ass thrashed in the online mode is great. Beyond that, it is just gorgeous looking. I mean, the amount of detail, they're damn near photorealistic as far as some of the characters. And this kind of leads into another issue aside from like the cosmetics of the game, is that NetherRealm Studios just does not know how to make a good looking female face. For the most part, they're all a little ugly. And it's weird. Like, some things look off, but it could also be that, you know, I've been playing games for so long that have unrealistic proportions that seeing something more realistic it's jarring to me. But either way, I really, really dig it. And if you're a fan of DC in general, or if you've been looking for a good, robust fighting game, then this is it. Because aside from this, the only other real heavy hitters we have are Street Fighter, which the 5th entry in the series has just been a huge clusterfuck. You have to get it either on PS4 or PC. The online component has been fucked since day one. It's barely gotten better. And then they have all the characters behind paywalls. You have Tekken, which was just released, but I don't know. I never really got into Tekken, and what else? I mean, there's no more Darkstalkers. Soul Calibur's gone. King of Fighters comes by every once in a while. Um, there's Blaze Blue or Blaz Blue. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's for like the hardcore fighting elite, where yeah, you have frame counting and those 20 button ultimates and all that other stuff going on that it makes it hard to get into unless you really want to dedicate yourself to just the one game. So I don't know. I mean, Overwatch has their 20th anniversary event going on right now, and I'm kind of foregoing that just for Injustice because it's really good. Apologies. I didn't have mine applesauce ready. So, yeah, a little parched apparently, talking for prolonged periods of time. It makes you thirsty. Which it doesn't help that I totally just pounded down like a powdered donut before doing the show. And then didn't drink anything, so it's like cotton mouth. Really, really bad. So, went and saw the Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2. Sorry, still thirsty. Oh, so good though. I haven't had apple juice in ages. So, made it a day out kind of with the boy where said, he's of age. We've been to a few movies already. Trying to think, like we did the Hotel Transylvania 2, we did Lego Batman, which was really, really good. I need to buy that. And then I figure, you know what? The weather's starting to turn. I want to get out of the house more with him. We'll do more things, and so went to go see Guardians 2. And my thought was he always has a hard time sitting through a movie because it doesn't really capture his attention fully. He's very much an active little guy where he wants to play and be doing things. He doesn't, unless it's like the monster truck, haunted house monster truck video series. He's like, fuck this. I'm gonna play and do other stuff, which is good. I'm not gonna, relegate him to, sit on the couch and watch TV for 8 hours, because I know once he hits, his teen years, he's gonna be wanting to play on a tablet or talk on the phone or effectively be locked into a world where he doesn't get up. He's not active because that's just the way things are going. So we're going to the theater, and he hadn't had his nap yet. And it's about a 40-minute drive to the theater, so I think he'll catch a little cat nap, and we'll pick up some like McDonald's on the way, and something light to tide us over until we could get something to the theater. And so I had miscalculated the amount of time it takes to get to the theater itself, in the sense that I know roughly how long it is to get like via one route, but I was taking another route and then planned on stopping and hitting up a drive-through. Well, the problem itself wasn't so much with the route that I was taking; it was what was happening on that route in that the town that we stopped in to get food was just completely torn up for construction. The main artery of that town was just gutted, and on top of that, a couple of the local businesses, including the McDonald's, and there's the cat for video watchers. You can see the little shithead who's gonna knock something off a shelf most assuredly because she's clumsy. And look at that big fat butt. Oh, she just fell. And and so a couple of businesses, including McDonald's, had taken this time to, well, we're going to go ahead and renovate as well. So it's just a clusterfuck as far as you can't get anywhere. There's traffic cones and blockades, and everybody's backed up. And so we have to take a back route to get into the McDonald's, and he's passed out in the back, which is fine. But there's a little bit of a line. There's like 2 cars. I wouldn't even really consider that a line. There's just a couple people ahead of me, except the lady in front decides she's going to order $25 worth of McDonald's. And it's all because by the time I pulled up, her order was still on the screen. It was just random shit. You know, it's not even like, give me 2 number 1s and number 3 and, you know, something like that. No, it's, I need a quarter pounder with cheese with no onions, and I need a fillet of fish with extra tartar sauce and shit like that. And so instead of like, the logical thing when you're sitting in a drive-thru is to, if you have a complicated order, go ahead and move that person forward. Like, go sit in this pre-marked stall or go park off to the side, and we'll have somebody come out with the food for you, because the custom order is going to take a little more time, whereas the other stuff is usually pretty, like our meal. I got a Big Mac meal and then chicken nugget Happy Meal for the boy. So that stuff's like cut and dry. We know what goes into that. We know how it works. Go ahead and pull the other person forward. We're going to just crank out the other ones in the back while somebody is focused on your order. Instead, they just have us sit. And it was like 10 minutes of just sitting there and waiting for her to get her food. And I'm sitting there just going nuts. Having like a mild, not anxiety attack, but just freaking the fuck out, because I'm looking at the time on the clock. We're not going to make this movie. We're not going to make this movie. What am I going to do? Because it started at like 4:11, but the next movie wasn't until like 7:30, and so, because of how far away the theater is, and I've got a sleeping toddler with me, it's like, well, do I go park somewhere, or, you know, do I eat, and then when he wakes up, I go take him to eat somewhere, or do I wait, or do I walk into a movie a half hour late with a toddler in the second week of this movie being out? God, I've got fat hands, short fat hands. The fuck. Ugh, terrible. Terrible. I don't know why I do this video shit. Anywho. It's a dilemma. Do I wait, or do I possibly lessen the movie experience for everybody else there? So, get the food, and I'm like reaching back and like, hey buddy, hey, gotta wake up, I got some food, you know. And he's having none of it. He's just out. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna be a fat guy, and I'm gonna eat this Happy Meal in addition to my food. And when he wakes up, you know, we'll go and get him some food. So take off, keep heading towards the movie theater, and get there like 2 minutes before the showtime's supposed to start. So I typically don't like going to this particular theater because over the years it's become kind of run down. And there were always better alternatives that were either a smaller screen but a better experience, or a little further away for a much, much better experience. So rather than go the middle ground, I just kind of took either the lesser or the greater options. And so this really was the only option left since I had moved. So we go to the theater, and it's desolate. It's empty. There's nobody there. Walk up to the counter and like, oh yeah, two for Guardians 2, and they're like, well, how old's he? I'm like, oh, he's 3. And like, okay, well, no charge for him. It's $5 for you. I'm like, no shit, $5 movie on a Friday afternoon. I don't know if it's matinee pricing still at that point, but still. The other place I was paying like $7 for a smaller screen. This isn't terrible. Walk in the theater. He's still passed out, so I've got the sleeping toddler, and just every bit of adorableness that goes with that. So walk in, and the theater itself, there's like 6 people sitting inside of it. Like, fuck yes. The commercial segment of the previews had ended, and the actual trailers for the new movies were just now starting, so we hadn't missed anything. The house lights were just now coming down, so it worked out extremely well. And the movie itself was really, really good. The parts that I saw. So what ended up happening is a little bit into the intro, he wakes up and he's getting into Baby Groot and all the stuff that's going on, because the first scene is very action oriented and all that. So his attention's captured, and when it starts slowing down and there's not as much going on, like we start getting to the couch talking scenes and whatnot, it's like, Dad, I want popcorn. I'm like, okay, buddy, we're at a movie theater. We'll go get you some popcorn. So thus begins interruption number 1, where, okay, let's go get out. We'll go get some popcorn. And so for a small popcorn, small still being like relatively good size, he polished it off before the movie was over. And a small drink, $8 dollars. $8 for half a bag of microwave popcorn and like a medium drink from a restaurant. $8. $8 And I shouldn't complain, because that's what, like $13 for the entire experience, which isn't bad at all. Get out of the house, get to see a new movie with the boy, and have some father-son bonding time in a movie about fathers and sons. $13, I can't complain. But I'm gonna complain because $8 for a pop and some popcorn is just fucking ridiculous. It's horrible. But I know that's how the theaters, they got to make their money, because they're not making it on the ticket sales. They have to make it at the concessions. And it's a hard pill to swallow. So we're walking back to the theater, and I'm holding the drink, and he's got the popcorn in his hand, like he's holding the tub with both hands, and he's just like shoving his face into the popcorn and like opening his maw as much as he can, and like just chomping down all this popcorn. It's adorable, I'm not gonna lie. So we get in the theater, and because he's awake now, he wants to sit in a seat by himself. But most, if not all, movie theaters have the seats that flip up, and he's too little to hold the seat down by himself. So I'm reaching over and trying to hold the seat down while he's eating the popcorn and drinking his pop. And I don't know, I couldn't be mad at the situation because of just how cute I thought it was. So, but again, I go onto these like tangents where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be. I hate when people talk about their kids and experiences, but I can't help but do it now, and I can empathize, because again, 30-year-old male with kids and family. These are my stories. Bum bum. And so as we're getting through to maybe like the second third of the movie, we get an urgent little like tug on my sleeve. It's like, Dad, my pants are wet. Like, the fuck did you just say? Dad, my pants are wet. Oh shit. Okay, okay. Let's put the popcorn and the pop up in the holder and let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Uh, and at this point, like all I'm thinking through my head is like, oh shit, he pissed his pants, because he's potty trained, but accidents will still happen because he's still a little guy, and like son of a bitch, we're gonna miss the rest of this fucking movie. So we walk down the stairs in the theater and we run down the hall and then as soon as we get out into like the main hall where you can go to the bathrooms, he's just like booking it. And like, oh man, I feel so bad. So we get into the bathroom, get into a stall, and whip down the pants, and it's like a goddamn fire hose. He's had to piss apparently for all of eternity, and it's just now decided to come out. But good news is, hey buddy, your pants aren't wet. So just I don't know, the feeling that he really really had to pee made him feel like his pants were wet. I don't know what the deal was, but no pee pants, just a little pee on my hand from getting everything situated, and it was I don't know. Again, a situation where you can't be mad because it's your kid and you think it's cute or adorable. Which always aggravates me when I see people like yelling at their kids in public or just being a dick for the kid acting like a kid, like they don't know any better. It's your job as the adult, as the parent, to teach them and to shape them. It's your job to raise a human being. And so when people get irrationally upset at their kids for doing kid things, it's just, wow, it pisses me off. So I ask him, well, do you want to go back and finish the movie, or should we go home? Should we go do something else? And he's like, no, let's go finish the movie. Go finish the movie. And, bear in mind that as we're watching this movie, and I realize I'm talking more about the experience of watching the movie than the movie itself, he's getting loud, not in the sense that, like, he's being disruptive, but he's reacting to the movie. So he's like, oh, fire or car. He's yelling out things that he's seeing in the movie and getting excited about it. And I'm like, shh, you gotta be quiet, buddy. There's other people watching, and you gotta calm down, or you gotta be quiet. But as I'm doing that, when I then react to the movie and laugh or and mostly just laughing at the movie, he'll be like, shh, dada. Or when I tell him to be, you gotta be quiet, he's like, I am being quiet, and he'd yell it, and like. Like there's no winning, but fortunately everybody was super cool, and I think we had some of the heat taken off us by the fact that somebody had brought a 6-month-old to see the movie, and so when the baby would actually start crying, they wouldn't even like take him out of the theater. They'd walk into like that little hallway off to the side of where all the seats are and just kind of like pace with the baby back and forth. It's like, don't bring a 6-month-old to a theater. Like, I at least waited until my son was a year and a half and had some basic concepts of movies and entertainment in that fashion. And I would always wait until times like, he was sleepy. So he's not going to be too fussy, and odds are, dark room, and me holding him, he's just going to pass out anyways. So we end up getting through the movie, and I was able to kind of piece together the segments that I had lost or missed because we were out doing other things. And as we're waiting through the credits, because there are, if you haven't seen it yet, there are 5 end credit scenes. And it's not like they wait for all the credits to play through and then they do all 5 in one lump go. No, it's interspersed throughout, so it's actually a pretty enjoyable experience. There's a lot going on with the credits besides the scenes themselves. Excuse me. So, during this, most of the people end up leaving, and despite there actually being more movie to be seen, and they're like leaving during the end credit scenes, they're still leaving. So about halfway through the credits, everybody but us is gone, and he's like, he wants to go, he wants to go, he wants to go. And I'm still irked about the popcorn, and the pop's like, no, damn it, we're gonna stay, we're gonna watch all of these scenes. So he then takes it upon himself to run up and down the aisles and the seats, and nobody's there, so who gives a shit? And then finds like, okay, it's all over, let's go. And so we went to a burger joint afterwards and got him some fries because he hadn't eaten yet, and he proceeded to be more enthralled with eating his milkshake than his fries, much to my consternation. So like, so what'd you think, buddy? Was it a good movie? Was it a good movie? Like, yeah, good movie. And at the end of the day, I mean, that's kind of all I wanted. There was like a little arcade there at the theater, so um, they had one of those old photo booths where you take like 4 or 5 photos and it prints it out on the little ticker, and so we got some of those, and that was a ton of fun. And you know, the overall theme of the movie was Peter Quill, Star-Lord's dad, coming back and trying to show him what his destiny is. And in a weird little fucked up way, it was kind of like Cat Stevens' Man in the Moon, where, you know, it's about a father and a son. And so I was seeing a lot of symbology there, and the Fields train was running in full bore, and I don't know, it was just a really good experience. It's one of those memories that you build and you look back at when you're, you know, 80 and shitting into a bag because you can't wipe your own ass and they're feeding you through a tube. Like it's those things that make everything else worthwhile in my experience. Um, but beyond that, Guardians was great. I really enjoyed it. Just absolutely astounding as far as the visuals are concerned. The soundtrack, I wasn't able to really piece it together, much like the first one. But I'm still waiting for that soundtrack to come to Google Play Music, and then I'll delve into it because I love the first one. It was really obnoxiously good. So I'm eager to get to the second one, and of course, you know, they hinted some things, and they're gonna have the third movie inevitably, and it's, I don't know that I like it better than the first one. I'd say they're probably on par, but it's one of the better Marvel movies out there. It definitely doesn't follow the same plot as far as like, there's this thing we gotta get, and we got the thing, but now the bad guy got the thing, and we have to counteract the thing's power, and we have to close the giant hole in the sky and stop the big bad. It's a movie about relationships, and it works. It works extremely well considering you have a baby plant and a raccoon and a blue guy with a mohawk. It works. Oh shit! I think you got it. I think I figured it out. So y'all motherfuckers be in trouble now. Sorry, still tinkering with the slider. I might not have it yet. I need to get like an actual soundboard so I can just move it up and down instead of like, gotta move the mouse a little carefully. Oh boy, don't fuck it up. So for the last third here, it's going to be more of a hodgepodge of bits and pieces than one concentrated dope-ass topic. We got a new Castlevania trailer for the show coming to Netflix. Looks like that's coming out July 7th. For whatever reason, I was under the impression that the Castlevania series was going to be live action, and this one's animated, and it looks very much like the Vampire Hunter D animation style. So I'm super jazzed about that. It appears to be more medieval than some of the other entries in the games, and you know, we'll have the Belmonts, and Dracula's getting his full Vlad the Impaler stylings going on, because like one of the first opening scenes is is a field of impaled skeletons, which, it fits with the lore. So I will probably, for the first time in, I don't know, 3-4 months, reactivate the Netflix subscription and just binge that. And I've been noticing that because Netflix for the longest time wasn't really capturing me with the series. It allowed me to get caught up on a lot of stuff like Hell on Wheels and Better Call Saul. But since getting through work, like the FX, I've been watching a ton of shit on there. HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, essentially all these movie channels. But really, FX, I've been watching so much stuff on there, like Taboo and Legion and Archer, and just they have a really, really huge selection of movies, like Marvel movies. I finally got to see Iron Man 3, which was a lot better than I thought it would be. But Netflix, I canceled that subscription a long time ago and really haven't looked back. And I know there's things like Luke Cage really didn't capture my interest. I got 2 episodes in before I said no to that. Iron Fist, I'm waiting for the Defenders, so I'll watch that when it comes back around. But otherwise, there hadn't been anything that really kept me around. The last thing that I watched I really, really liked on there was the second season of Voltron. So if they can keep up, their animation front, and not only in the sense of, like, I would definitely kill for more Voltron, but this Castlevania looks really good too, then, maybe we'll keep that subscription going. But it's looking good. So that takes care of that. I'm sorry, I actually have show notes, and as far as like topics, things I want to talk about as I get the squeaky chair repositioned, because I don't sit still well, and everybody got a full on view of my chest as I stood up in front of the camera there. Sweatpants. Sweatpants are a serious topic, guys, and as my boy Jake here so adequately describes them in Adventure Time, I'm gonna kind of let him set up the scene here a bit.
These sweatpants have another name.
Another name.
Yeah. Don't you always call sweatpants give up on life pants, Jake?
I do, because peeps need to respect themselves when they leave the house. Even if it's just for ice cream or TP or whatever.
So yeah, I've always had a problem with sweatpants. Mostly in the sense that when people get out of the house and are wearing them, they have no self-respect. They've given up on life. Long before I found that Adventure Time clip, which I thought, summarized everything perfectly, I held this belief that you should have enough self-respect to... Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Pause the show. Put a pause on this. My Harley Quinn, she just did herself some good and beat this mode by herself. That's the other nice thing about this Injustice, is that there's an AI mode. You can essentially customize an AI character who will then go out and fight for you in the multiverse. Which in this case, if you're a busy fella but you still want to get some leveling up done, let the fucking robot fight. So it did, and it won, and I have a lot of good fun stuff here. So I really, really want to just end the show, and not that I don't want to talk to you guys, that I don't want to spend time here. I really just want to play Injustice 2 because it's so good. So good. Oh my god, you guys should get it. And you should join the guild on there. We have the Horror of Cocytus? Cocytus. It's Cocytus. The Horror of Cocytus guild on there. Join up and then help one another, and we'll earn loot boxes and level up our characters, and we can talk about why this Joker skin's so controversial, and why Superman's a big old piece of shit, and just have a good old time. But sweatpants, it's just lazy. You go out nowadays to the stores and out in public, and even on like airplanes, people are wearing fucking pajamas and loose-fitting clothes and sweatpants with no pockets, and it looks fucking terrible. When you go out in public, you should want to present your best self. Even if you're having a bad day, we have that social stigma of having to look good. If not looking great, like nobody's going to go out in a tuxedo or a formal ball gown, but go out put together. Have your hair done. If you wear makeup, great. Make sure your makeup game is on point. But otherwise, wear decent clothes. If sweatpants were designed for working out, sitting at home doing projects, not fucking going out. And when you see those assholes who are wearing pajama pants, like flannel, or they got Tweety Bird all over them, and they got this ratty old like fucking pillowcase of a t-shirt, the hell's wrong with you? You should think better of yourself to the point that when I go out, I'm going to have enough self-respect to wear proper clothing and attire and show society that I am a reputable, not necessarily a reputable person, but that you got your shit together to some extent. When you go out and I see those people wearing that, immediately lose all respect for them. You cannot present yourself in a light to me then that says, hey, I am worth your time if you are wearing sweats and pajamas out in public. It's just shameful. It's shameful. You should feel bad about yourself. And so it's become more and more popular, and that's why it's become a running joke of, I'm going to pay a little more to shop at Target so I don't have to deal with the people at Walmart. It's because the fucking people at Walmart are the ones who are wearing their goddamn sweatpants to the store. And I mean, how far is this going to go? Is it going to get to the point where, I'm sure it has in some areas, I've yet to see it here, where you're going to the movies, you're having a night out in your fucking sweats. And it's a problem. I mean, sweats only promote further laziness. If you're already to the point that you're not going to put effort into what you're wearing when you go to just the fucking store for shopping, you are going to continue that trend because it's all about momentum. And so when something starts gaining traction, it becomes a habit. And this could be a good habit like learning a foreign language or working out or picking up a side project. Also eating out, not working out, being a lazy fat piece of shit. And then wearing sweatpants. You don't have that limiter in place, then you don't have that reinforcement that I shouldn't be doing this, because those types of clothes are they're comfortable. So when you go out and you're not made uncomfortable by your clothes, you're not reminded what a lazy fat piece of shit you are, and you're not then encouraged to become better. So I don't like sweatpants. I mean, even in general, outside of a public setting, I don't like sweatpants. Your clothes should make you feel uncomfortable, so you strive to then be better and get in better shape. Oh god, that's so fucked up, but it's so true. It's so true. Like, if it were up to me, like, there'd be like gym shorts and pajama pants. Yoga pants, I'm on the fence about. I don't understand the appeal behind them, why everybody goes ape shit about them. But they're in the same vein to me as sweatpants. When you go out and you're wearing fucking yoga pants, you're wearing tights. You're just wearing tights. And unless I see you out there cracking skulls and fighting crime or fighting other yoga pant wearing people, it doesn't belong. Those are clothes designed for a specific purpose, and if you're sitting at a coffee shop drinking your latte in yoga pants, then same concept. I'm not going to have much respect for you as a person. And that might not mean a lot to you. It doesn't have to. I mean, my opinion is my own, and I mean, fuck me if my opinion differs from your own, much like, fuck you if I don't like your opinion. That's the wonderful, that's how the world works, and it's amazing. But essentially, I want to say now, I want to go on the record that if you wear sweatpants out in public and you're not like in a gym setting, please stop listening to my show. I don't want to have any business associating with you, and I don't want to be, I don't want those kinds of people promoting the show and saying, oh yeah, I wear sweatpants in public, but you should listen to this thing called the Unwashed Asses, because they're immediately going to think you don't wipe your ass, and that's what the entire show is about. People, with shitty ass cracks, and we can't have that. It's going to drive me nuts. So again, if you wear sweatpants in public, please stop listening right now. But all that then being said, we're going to throw in some closing music here. Going to bring the show to a close. If you... I already did the Patreon plug, so I can't really plug that again. But again, if you like what I do here, head over to patreon.com/0109. Of course, you can always write the show at theunwashedasses@gmail.com. And, of course, then on Twitter, at unwashed_asses. You want to show topic? You want to bitch at me about my sweatpants rat? Then go right ahead. I'll be here and waiting, and be more than happy to read those on the air and have a polite, proper discussion. Till then, again, you can join the guild on Injustice 2, or throw down a match. I welcome all comers, and we'll see you next week, 9 a.m. Central Time, the only time zone that matters. I don't care what Scott Sanchez says on Thursdays.